Yo, what's up guys? Jason Ma the Magician and welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be teaching you one of the greatest card tricks, guaranteed that you're going to be using this all the time. It's relatively easy to do. There is no setup and all you need is a regular pack of cards. You can even borrow the cards if someone is walking around with a pack of cards. Boom! Listen, I could sit here hyping this trick up all day, but why don't we just take a little look-see-loo, huh? Alright, for this trick, you can have your spectators shuffle up the cards, baby. Once they're sufficiently shuffled, you get a card selected at random. In this case, it's going to be this card right here. Now, I'll take that card, we're going to lose that somewhere into the center of the pack, and in order to locate it, all we have to do is give the cards a few cuts and a riffle shuffle. This means that the card will be sufficiently lost within the pack. Neither you nor I could ever find the card again, but I know who can. The aces, baby. I'm going to go through this deck and I'm going to grab out all four of the aces. Once I can find them all, they will assist in the location of your card and it should look like a bona fide miracle. Check it out. 4 aces. I'm going to flip these all face down. You can see that's one ace, the ace of diamonds, the ace of hearts. We've got them all. And what I'll do is one at a time, I'll take an ace, like this ace of clubs, I'll place it on the bottom of the pile, and if it manages to rise to the top, it tells me that your card is not a clubs. Alright, this is the same for all the aces, like this one here, the ace of diamonds. I'll place that right here on the bottom like so. I snap the fingers, it rises to the top, telling me that your card is not a diamond. That of course leaves us with 2 aces remaining. The ace of spades will now be placed to the bottom of a single card, and with a snap, it will rise through to the top. And that of course tells me that your card is not a spade, it must be a heart. I'm then going to take the aces, we'll get them out of the equation. Now that we know that your card is a heart, all I have to do is locate it, and I can do that by winding the deck up. Done. The deck has been sufficiently wound up, meaning that your card will flip face up. Check it out, man. Boom! The ace of, wait a minute, the ace of hearts, but that's supposed to be the ace of hearts, which means that this card must be your 9 of hearts, baby, and that is what a modern day miracle looks like. I told you the trick was good. I told you it was gonna be a banger, man. An amazing miracle that you can perform every time, anywhere with a pack of cards. Now for this tutorial, I'm gonna break it up into just 2 parts, baby. Part number 1 is going to be the card control. That's how you're gonna control the card in the deck and make sure that you don't lose it at any point. And then the second part is going to be the ace sequence, I'm gonna call it. The ace sequence. If you follow the steps, the trick will just work and it's going to be awesome. But before we dive into that, make sure that you smash like if you haven't already and subscribe. And without any further ado, let's dive into tutorial view. Boom, baby, tutorial view. Now for tutorial view, we're gonna start with the card control. Now remember, your spectator, before you start the trick, can genuinely shuffle these up, all right? There is no setup, which is why the trick is so damn powerful. Now, once the cards have been sufficiently shuffled, you're gonna offer them to select a card, and the control you're going to do, so this is the selected card, the control you're going to do is going to look like this, yeah? I'm gonna dump these cards on here, and then I'm gonna cut the cards several times like so. I'll even riffle shuffle the cards, just for good measure, and that is how you control the card. It is already here on the top. I don't have to do any work. It's like a super easy control, but it's very convincing. Now to do this is super easy. All you're gonna do is when you have their card selected, in this case the 3 of clubs, you're then just gonna reach over and pick up half the cards like so and instruct them to place the card back, yeah? I don't have a free hand right now, so I have to do this. But then once the card is placed back, okay, the 3 of clubs, you can show it to them again if you want, or show it to everyone else. You're then gonna take these cards and you're gonna do this kind of a riffle, like so. Now to do this is not difficult, all right? All you're doing is you're holding the cards 3 at the front, thumb at the back, putting a little pressure here, and just kind of like sliding the thumb off the back so that the cards can fall fairly freely. And you're going to do it in kind of a line motion like this, so they spread kind of like that, but you're doing it on top of this block of cards where their selection is. It's going to look like this. But the situation, like this looks messy. It looks like you've lost the card, and that's why it's so convincing. But the situation is actually this. You can see the block, the original block of cards, is just underneath that spread. And the furthest card back here, if I just lift that up, I can then, let me show you, if I just lift this up and push it all closed, I can just jam my pinky under it, keeping them both separate, meaning that now I still have complete control over their card, but it looks like it was lost. And you don't even have to hold this break for long because you're immediately then going to start cutting cards from above that break until you put the rest on top, meaning that you move their selection to the top. From the back view, it's going to look like this. Their selection is going to be placed into the center. I'll do it with the card face up so you can see it. I'm then going to start further back, and I'm going to riffle forwards in a line, leaving the cards spread out across the selection. The bottommost card, if I just lift this up with my thumb and I put my pinky in here, I'm now holding the two packs separate, meaning that I'm in complete control of their selection. Super easy. And then you just start cutting packs until you finally put the pack with their card on top. So now that you've successfully learned how to control their card to the top, and you do the cuts like so, all you have to do for a final convincer is just take the cards. You can give them a riffle shuffle like this, but just make sure that you don't riffle this card, their selection, into the deck, and then it just really looks convincing. You're keeping control of the card. How cool is that, man? You're learning some crazy secrets about Magic right now. Now the cool thing about that control is it's gonna take you almost no time to get it down. Maybe practice in front of a mirror like a couple of times so that you can see what it looks like from the opposite end, but I think you'll have it in no time. I believe in you, champion. We can do this thing. We can do Magic together, baby. Now up next, the ace ones. All right, so now at this point, when you've controlled the card to the top, you are still not going to know what that card is. But the beautiful thing about this trick is that there's a very natural way to find out. And that's that when you turn the deck over, you're going to spread through and get all four of the aces out for the ace sequence. So you're going to go through and you're going to grab one, and you like to do it like this. You really want your spectator to see you thumbing through the cards until about the second ace. Then you're going to sort of tilt it back a little bit. So now they can't see the faces, and just get all the aces, and then just get a peek at that very last card, right? As they spread through, you can just take a look at that last card, and now you know what the card is, and you know everything about it. Now the ace sequence begins right now. Now for the ace sequence, once you've removed all four aces and you know what the card is, you're then going to find the corresponding pip. So in this case, we know that it's a three of clubs, so we're going to take the ace of clubs, and we want this to be on the bottom of the pile of aces. So I just gather them up, making sure that this one is on the bottom. While I gather these aces up, on this hand, I'm going to push across, put my pinky underneath, and then pull this back so that I'm holding their selection separate from the rest of the deck. I place the rest of these on top, and then I pick up everything together and I place the deck aside like so. I'm now holding this situation, okay? Their selection, the corresponding pipped ace, and then just the other aces, don't matter what order they're in, as long as they're on the top like so. So now with everything ready to go, just follow this sequence, all right? We're going to start off by taking the aces, and one at a time, we're going to turn them over. Now to do that, I'm just pinching end to end, using the pad of my thumb to slide an ace off, and then using these cards to help kind of lever it over and add it to the bottom, just making sure that I hold them all together. I do that with every ace as I explain the sequence that I'm about to do. And that's that I'm going to take the ace, place it on the bottom. If it comes to the top, it means that it doesn't match the suit of their card. So I spread the cards like this, and I'm holding a double here. To do that is actually very easy. All I do is I use the pads of my fingers. I slide one, use the next finger, slide two, use the next finger, slide three, and I'm just keeping the corners held of this so that I can maintain the double. I then group these up, and I just, using these points as a swivel and the fingers to guide it, I'm going to swivel this over, and I'm going to hold this double separate from the pack using my pinky. So I know that seems like a lot of information. It's easier to understand than you think. So the sequence looks like this. I use the pads, I spread, spread, spread. I then group everything up, and then swiveling this in between these two fingers, holding the double, turning it over, and then keeping the double separate. The reason why I'm holding it like this, keeping it separate from the pack, is so that I can very easily pick the double up again without having to fiddle around here like this. So I say this is the ace of spades. I then turn the double over. I peel off a single card and I place it to the bottom. And then when I snap the fingers, the ace of spades returns to the top. I explain that that tells me this is not the suit of your card. I'll do the same thing again, except this time we only have 4 cards left, but we want them to think we have only 3 cards. So I do the same thing again. I use the pads of my fingers. I slide 1, then 2, and then holding the double, I swivel this around and I hold them separate again. And I say the ace of hearts. I then pinch it here. This is how I turn it over again. I pinch the corner and I just slide it down and turn it over like the pages of a book. Slide the single card off, place it on the bottom, snap the fingers, and sure enough, the ace is returned to the top. Now we're down to just 3 cards in our hand, but we want them to think that it's just 2. So we're going to pinch it here like this again, and we're going to slide off the topmost card. So now we're holding a double here and a single here. We can then turn these over like this and explain that there are 2 left. I then turn it all back over. I then do the same turnover again, holding it separate with the pinky. And then I pinch, turn it over like the pages of the book, and very carefully peel off the single card because I don't want to accidentally split these 2 here, right? So I very carefully peel off the single card, place that on the bottom, a snap of the fingers. I very carefully peel off that single again, and I flip it over, and this time I'm not going to drop it down here. I'm going to place it on the top here, and I'm not going to hold it separate. I'm going to just place it on there nice and neatly. I then re-grip like this, and with the pads of my fingers, I slide out the bottommost card, which means I'm now holding a double here, only the double is opposite directions, yeah? So you want to be very careful here, because you're trying to say that your card is not the ace of diamonds. Place it here, get rid of this card, and just carefully group all these together and place them into the deck like that. You're then going to cut them into the center of the pack, and now the trick is more or less complete. All right, you've actually completed the trick already with very minimal effort, because now in the center of the pack you have the ace of clubs, and what's left is their card. Their selection will be the only thing that's left. But you want to convince them that this is the ace of clubs the whole time. So once you take the aces and you put it in the middle, you're going to explain to them, now we know, since the ace of clubs is the only one left, now we know that your card is a club. Then I do theatrics, just winding up the deck, little theatrics, and then explain that when I spread the cards out, their card will be the only one facing the opposite direction, and you get this moment where you're like confused yourself. Oh my God, what? That must mean that this card is their card, and it's just a wham bam thank you ma'am kind of moment. It's crazy, dude. And there you have it. You have now learned the greatest card trick you will learn today. Now remember, it's a video. You can always go back, rewatch, rewind, pause on the bits that you're not understanding. I think it's fairly well explained. If you're having any problems, just leave a comment in the description below and I'll do my best to get back to you. Also, if you like this type of trick, like you like these more advanced tutorials, get this video to 5,000 likes and I will make another one. Of course, I imagine that there's going to be less people interested in the advanced stuff. It's like, but you know, prove me wrong. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for you today. I hope you like it. It's a good trick, and I'll see you guys later.
Call me Bucky, lucky that I'm innocent. If I didn't have no morals, I'd be menacing.